In this video, me and my friend attempt to survive 800 days of hardcore Minecraft. In the previous 700 days, we've built many things, but they aren't all efficient. It's about time we build a super smelter, a more efficient iron farm, and a world eater to remove thousands of blocks with the placement of a single redstone block. Also guys, I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. It's completely free, and I really appreciate it. Enjoy. It's day 701, and we are back. But guys, there is no time to waste, as we are very low on materials. We got some wood in the last episode, but we definitely need more, as well as the essentials like cobblestone and deep slate cobble. And actually, we're pretty poor in every ore. Wow, I just make things rhyme all the time, I swear. And yeah, we also have no food. So we cleared out our inventories, and I emptied my shulker box, taking out the main items before they get lost in the system. I then renamed my shulker box to Chaza's toolbox, and I'll be picking one of your comments from 700 days to rename my next shulker box, so stay tuned to the end, and I might have chosen your idea. Luckily, we had a bunch of baked potatoes, so I grabbed a couple stacks of those, and we got straight to chopping down trees. As you know, deforestation is one of our favorite things to do in this world, and there's a load of trees above our trading hall, and if we're going to be building on there one day, we may as well clear it out now, right? By the time the sun was rising on day 702, this is how much wood we'd gotten from clearing most of the hill, but to our right was the remains of last episode's celebrations. Time to clear up. We then took the wood back to the storage system and tried to put it into the system, but it's backed up so much that it's not even moving. I then coloured and renamed a new shulker box. This one was called Chaza's backpack. Then grabbed some iron blocks to put inside of it, stole the emerald beacon near our bamboo farm, and it was then time to take a trip down memory lane to the old mine. When we got down to the bottom, we mined out an area for the beacon and we started placing it. And at the start of the next day, we activated the beacon to haste to and we started going ham. We spent a good 3 days between 703 and day 705 mining stone and cobble deep slate. And if you guys have been mining cobble deep slate, you'll know just how long this thing takes, even with haste 2.
Boring.
And on day 706, we just focused on stone as we had laser focus to deep slate cobble. And these are the results of the grinding. It was definitely way too much to fit in all of our shulker boxes that we brought over, so we'd have to make more than one trip. This wouldn't be a problem though, as we only had to fly a short distance back home. It was literally just past the creeper farms in the ocean. And we went to offload our shulkers before going back. Also might have gotten more materials than our system can handle, so a third lane is definitely needed. Once we grabbed more shulkers, we flew back to get the rest, mined down the beacon, and then headed back home. Once we arrived back for the second time, we removed all of the backlog items, putting them into shulker boxes as well. It's a really good job that about 100 or 200 days ago we went and got a load of shulker shells, otherwise this would have been impossible. Once we cleared out all of the backlogged items, we visited the old smelter building at our old house to utilize the lava and get rid of unneeded items. We did this through the night and we carried on burning things into the morning. We went from all of these shulkers full of stuff to a lot less. And just before we left, Jordan checked inside and we had our shulkers that we'd put on top of the hoppers with sand in, which means that they got smelted, leaving us with a load of glass. The rest of the day was spent manually putting materials from our shulker boxes into the correct chests, and we got tired of that pretty quickly and also ran out of room. So I marked all of the chests that need to be removed or moved in general, so we can reorder the system, making it more efficient. Also fitting in the new stuff from the 1.18 update. But guys, before we do any sort of work or building, we're going to need pickaxes, and there was a sense of anxiety around being on the next to no durability mark. So we flew to the Enderman XP farm, and eventually all of this land that we're flying past now will be built up one day. So after smacking a few Endermen, it was time to get back to the overworld, and the first task upon arrival was gonna be a pretty long one. It took us from day 710 to day 714, removing the items from the first corridor and taking out the items from the picture frames, whilst Jordan removed the stuff out the back of the hoppers, which was used to filter, and we then placed a load of chests in the middle of the room for the stuff that we were moving. It only just dawned on us that we had this much stuff. It's kind of crazy. But after 4 days of stress and hard work, we cleared a whole corridor, and it actually felt quite relieving. But the next thing to do was to reorder everything. We put all the oak with slabs, stairs, fence gates, you name it, with the oak. Literally anything you guys can imagine. And even though the Jordan had cleared out the back, we double checked both layers just to make sure that they only had filter blocks inside of them, because you have to be careful not to accidentally put things in the wrong place. It was then time for another stressful part of the process, which was crafting every item we needed, making a stack of them, or at least 42, so that each stackable block could filter through. This is a lot of hard work for people that just want to have fun. But finally, finally, on day 715, it was all done so we could start putting the items into the chests to have them filtered. And if you thought we were going to stop there, you're damn wrong. Because whilst all of those items were filtering through, we then started removing the items from our existing picture frames in the second corridor and then began reordering them, which took the rest of the day. And instead of showing you every single part like I just did, after some work on the hoppers and the redstone, the next day, on day 716, the next row was complete. I spent the next day ordering the food aisle in the last corridor, then placed down some color concrete, ordered some saplings, and it was all complete with a lot of room to spare. Whilst I did my thing, Jordan was putting the stuff in the hoppers, and we can now put all of the stuff from the chests in the middle of the room into the hoppers to be sorted, which meant we'll be standing here waiting for a long time for it all to filter through. But everything had finally finished filtering, and damn, that took forever. But the chest that collects the items that couldn't be filtered had this inside. Maybe we just needed the chest for eggs. My bad. On day 718, it was time to gather some materials and finally leave the storage room. I reactivated the emerald beacon before flying off to go and get the stuff that we don't yet have. And the stuff that we didn't have yet was packed ice, and I might have gone a little bit overkill on just how much I collected. At least we wouldn't need to come back for a long time. And also honey. Now, bees take ages to give you honey. It's the first time I've ever done it in Minecraft. I've never really had to use honey before, but bees take absolutely ages. So in between collecting, we started messing about, shooting arrows into the sky, trying to shoot each other. But we were so happy once they were finally ready. And once we were done, I had a mini battle with the bees and took one of the hives, because why not, right? I put the beehive that I took on a tree outside the storage system when I got back, and we began landscaping for our next big build. So now the materials are ready, let's get to work. So our super smelter was now built, and it took us a long time to do. I'm just hoping that this is going to work. We placed the minecarts, and it was fully complete. On day 724, I ran in to get some dirt, but I bumped into these chests, and they actually had no use anymore. So we got rid of them. I then proceeded to grab some dirt and worked on placing a hill over the smelter. You don't want something like this just out in the open. Jordan then took a little time out. And we made the hill even bigger for the build that we had planned to go on top. This is what the hill looks like without a building on top. I'd say we're pretty decent at terraforming and making hills and stuff. What do you guys think? The next day, we headed to the Nether, completely forgetting that we linked the portals to the Nether hub, meaning that we had no way back down to the mainland of the Nether. So we came back through and I went to get obsidian. I built a portal a little bit further away and then flew off to the Wither farm. We then eventually located the farm, and when we got there, we put down a portal to see how far away we'd be from our home in the overworld, and it was pretty damn far. So we scrapped that idea and got straight into killing wither skeletons for the next 2 days. These things take absolutely ages. Our farm just must not be very efficient. And it was a massive waste of 2 days, as there wasn't as much coal as we expected, but luckily there was a decent amount of some wither skeleton skulls too, which we can use for getting extra beacons. After picking up what coal there was, we then flew home. And we were back on day 728, and instead of destroying this portal for good, we only removed one block, because in case we need to get onto the nether floor, we could just use this portal. And then flew to the storage system to check how much coal we had in there.
Very nice.
And altogether, we had over a shulker. Not too bad. Jordan also decided to smack me with his trident, but he gifted me one in return, which was broken, but we take those. After fetching my trident, I put it in my shulker for safekeeping, just so I don't break it, and then I worked on getting materials for our big smelter building. I went to get lanterns, buttons, and although we're only a stone's throw away from the storage system when we build, we still got some basic materials that we need, and we took them with us. On day 729, we filled in the furnaces with stacks of coal, only to realize that we definitely didn't have enough for that, so we filled each of them with 32. Well, once that was done, it was time to build a giant building above it, which would now be known as our smelter building. After doing the roof and the tower, we did some more detailing, placed down the door, and the build was fully complete. We're so excited, and this was already our favorite build on the server to date. The building just looked so clean, and it definitely fits what we've got underneath it. I then got rid of all the materials in my inventory by putting it into the sorting system, and it was so relieving to know that it had all been sorted out now. I then took some materials from the chest for the pathway. So I left Jordan to get on with another building, but this one was going to be a bit smaller, whilst I got on with the pathway around the new smelter shelter. That's got a nice ring to it. I came back for slabs and there were some unwanted guests at the storage system, but I fought them off and then got to placing my slabs. Like we did in the last episode, I grabbed some sea lanterns, turned moss blocks into carpet, and placed them down so we didn't require torches. Once all that was done, I came over to help Jordan with his building. It was then time for some interior designing, and it came off pretty good, but that was the little building done, which will be another one of many. On day 740, we realized that we'd done about 10 days, maybe more, of building. It was time to do something fun because, you know, Jordan and I can't concentrate on one thing for too long. So we gathered some potion ingredients, and I started brewing potions for extra precaution as a big battle was coming up. Once they were done, we grabbed some golden apples to be extra safe, and also topped up on fireworks. I made some fire res potions as we had the last ditch idea to do this battle in the Nether. The next morning, Jordan called me down to the basement of our old house where our Hall of Fame was, and we really had a moment where we stepped back and remembered all of our achievements so far. We had the day 1 poppy, dragon egg, MLG boat, and 2 wither heads. That's a result, which means that with those 2 wither skulls, we had 21 in my ender chest, equaling to 23, which was 1 off of 24.
Quick maths!
Which means if we get 1 more, we can spawn in 8 wither bosses, 1 for each 100 days to survive so far. We love a challenge. So we got straight into the Nether, went back to the wither skeleton farm, and there wasn't any in the chests as we'd taken them all out. We'd have to let these wither skeletons build up as they were super slow. So after waiting, we slowly killed the wither skeletons, and I finally got one. The next task seemed kind of impossible as we were flying around the Nether trying to find an area without too much lava. A very silly task considering our environment. Once we finally found an area we thought might not have as much lava, we dug down and realized we forgot soul sand, the main thing we need apart from the skulls. Jordan went to get some, and after he did, we mined out an area as well as a tunnel. We then placed all of the soul sand down as well as some skulls, drank our fire res potions, and braced ourselves. I didn't want to make the huge mistake of wearing a elytra in such a huge battle, so I equipped my chest plate, and then at the start of day 743, I spawned in all of the withers, and it was the beginning of our battle. We battled with the wither bosses, taking hits, giving hits, getting stuck in corners and 1-block gaps, but eventually we were taking them out one by one. Our bows did a lot of damage. There was times where we'd have up to 4 wither bosses on us each. This wasn't an easy challenge. But we managed to kill 7 and get it down to the last one. I told Jordan we should try saving this one to farm Netherite, but this wither boss wasn't doing much. So we decided to kill him, which meant that our mission was complete. And these were our rewards, the Nether stars. We then went through the whole battlefield trying to find ancient debris, and we had 1, which was it. Oh, and 1 more on the side. We were hoping that the wither bosses would expose some ancient debris for us, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Time to find our way out, and then our way back to the portal. And yes, we did get lost a few times, but eventually we got there. And we arrived back on day 746 to make the beacons straight away before we forget.
Nice.
We then took all of the iron blocks and turned the ingots into blocks 2, leaving just 1 single ingot behind. We're getting poor out here. We then dug down near the new smelter shelter and placed beacon number 1. Once it was placed, we activated speed 2 on it and moved on to our nether hub to add the 4th beacon to the pyramid of iron blocks. And as we're going to be building here eventually, we may as well put a beacon here too, right? So we started placing a new beacon only to realize that we ran out of blocks. So as the sun set on day 747, we now had the task of choosing an iron farm to build. I put away the beacons into my ender chest for now while they weren't being used, and I cleared out my inventory in the sorting system. I then grabbed some food and got the villagers to breed, offering them a variety of options for their culinary taste buds, and they produced. I then gathered materials for the new iron farm, but we didn't have quite enough obsidian, despite having a good amount already. Jordan sheared some sheep for beds, and we came back to the villager trading hall to get name tag trades, and none of our villagers were master yet, which just shows how little we used them. I also remembered we had an underground sugarcane farm, and it was stacked. There was so much sugarcane here. So the next morning, we turned all of the sugarcane into paper and traded with the villager to hopefully get him over the line to being a master. We traded with another villager and used up the paper whilst I was here for extra emeralds, but there wasn't really any need for these emeralds. So instead, I used them for golden carrots. Luckily, the villager was now master, and I got as many name tags as I could, which was too much. We only needed 2, but it's better to have more than enough than not enough. We then soared through the skies to the end portal and hopped straight through. We targeted the second shortest tower, and we can't break this block. Does anyone know why? We took down the obsidian tower, and we got so much obsidian from this, which was great, so we headed back. All the materials were pretty much ready, and we had so much obsidian altogether. We then checked on the villagers, and we were up to 7. They were producing very quickly. Grabbed some more carrots and fed them even more to speed things up. We then flew around deciding on where we should put this thing. And after gliding through the sky, we decided to put it next to our other automatic farms as we could AFK both at the same time to maximize the efficiency. Eventually things might get moved around, but we can block the eyesore with new buildings. So with a big iron farm to build, we got some rest the night before. We started off the iron build by building up, making a load of nether portals, using a bit of dirt, making a couple of pods out of glass, and it was a really quick build. And getting it all set up for villagers who we checked up on the next day, and we had 15. We only needed 12. We wasted no time and started placing rails, and I went back through the track and added some powered rails, and we didn't have enough iron for minecarts as we used it all on the beacon, so we had to mine up some of our unfinished beacon just to get some. On day 754, we started to ship the villagers using minecarts to the pods until Jordan started having some trouble, but eventually we got it sorted. And then I ran into some problems when the villager went rogue, but eventually it went into where it was supposed to go. And after a stressful day of working with villagers, we slept as it was nighttime because we didn't want mobs to try and kill them. There was a lot of readjusting the tracks, but we got the next 3 in. And we worked through the night to get the last 3 in before taking down all the track because you just know that we'll forget to do it. The next part was making a zombie chamber, and we completed that, but now it was time for zombies. So we stood around and waited for nighttime, and Jordan said we should kill these zombies so they don't kill our zombies, and he had some fun doing it. Whilst Jordan was having his fun, I flew off back to the storage system to use an anvil to rename the 2 name tags to 2 of my channel members' names. We got the first zombie in place, but an iron golem killed it. Jordan attacked the 2 golems, got another in place, and I applied its name. Because the golem killed one of our zombies, I had to go rename another name tag whilst Jordan went to battle with a server full of mobs. And when I got back, we chose a zombie stacked out in gold armor just so they'd be a little more safe next time. We put slabs above the heads of the zombies for protection, and as the sun was rising on day 757, the zombies were in their chambers and safe from the iron golems. And I tried punching an iron golem off, but he ended up wanting to fight me, and he almost knocked me dead. Jordan lit up the portals. It was time to go through to the nether to make the portals wider on the other end. Once we made it wider, we dug out an area for the portal below. Made a glass tube. Added some trapdoors, placed down some signs, as well as some lava, which I almost burnt myself in. And that is the thing complete. We made a new portal so we can get back here really easily. And then I went back into the overworld to make myself a little glass container to go AFK in. And I AFK'd for 3 days, through the night, through the daytime. I also saw this zombie wearing full diamond enchanted gear. This guy was cracked. After AFKing our new iron farm for 3 days, these were the results. And there was enough in there for us to turn the ingots into blocks and finish off the beacon. We activated it with speed 2, and we had 2 iron blocks to spare. Jordan was browsing our Netherite catalogue, and we needed a lot more. And forgetting the amount of Netherite we had in mind, we need a lot of shulkers, and more importantly, pickaxes. So we got some lapis, all of our diamonds, and a bunch of sticks. We went old school again, going to our old enchantment table, making a bunch of diamond pickaxes, and enchanting all of them. It turns out that we're richer back in the old days, in terms of lapis blocks anyway. Jordan brought over some grindstones and anvils, and I started disenchanting and combining pickaxes until I had an extra 4 efficiency 5 ones. Jordan also found some netherite in the old house, so it turns out that we were very rich before even building this other half of the homeland. And I already had some in my ender chest, so this is what we had. I then threw Jordan some netherite ingots, and we combined our pickaxes to make netherite ones. Needed mending, and for that I need emeralds, so I made a bunch of paper, traded with the villagers, also turned some sticks into bamboo, also turned some bamboo into sticks, so I could trade with Fletchers whilst the librarians were on cooldown, and ended up trading more and more. I got the mending books, but also accidentally some Bane of Arthropod books. Just why would I need these? I chucked Jordan some mending books, and applied the enchants to my pickaxes as well. The next day we grabbed some shulker boxes and hopped straight through our nether portal to the main part of the nether, not the nether hub. Dug down to Y15, put chunk borders on, and I just kept running into lava. I also found like 4 ancient debris like straight away. Why is it that you get stuff when you're not looking for it? We finally found a lava free zone. We placed our shulkers down and we just started going ham on the netherrack. After a couple of days I started running into lava again. I'd had enough of it, so I switched it up and went down to bedrock, and it was so much easier than burning alive. I kept running back and forth, putting my netherrack into shulker boxes, and after I got a good amount, I went back up to Y15 with Jordan, because if we were able to get ancient debris, then why not? All the shulkers were full, and so were our inventories, so we picked up the shulker boxes, found our way back home, and went through the portal. We got back home and put down our shulker boxes, and then grabbed 4 more shulkers, emptied out our double chest, and we had 16 shulkers, roughly 400 plus stacks of netherrack on us right now. We put our ancient debris together, grabbed the unsmelted ores, and then made our way over to the new smelter shelter and put our ores in with the ancient debris to be smelted, and oh my god, do they come out of the chest fast. This thing is rapid, but unfortunately there were some problems with the smelter. I'm really not a redstone guru, as you guys know. Jordan knows a fair bit, so we tried to fix it for most of day 770. We did another test run, and this smelter really is rapid, but unfortunately it's not working. It seems we, and when I say we, mainly Jordan because he's the redstone guy, have semi-fixed the problem. No guys, it turns out we didn't fix the problem at all. We literally spent another 3 days trying to fix it. Jordan tried everything, we were rebuilding it. I changed one tiny thing and it worked. So yeah, that's right, I'm the new redstone guy around here. Let's go. It was day 774. We'd finally fixed it after so long sitting here rebuilding it. This is the result of our smelted ores, and now that it's working properly, we can be very happy. Took a quick trip back to the storage room and turned all of the smelted ingots into blocks, and then combined the gold with the scraps to get more ingots. I found even more scraps, so I turned that into netherite too and made a block of netherite. We placed our second block of netherite on top of the other block, and we almost had enough for a beacon. Almost. We then flew to the end portal, and I ran out of rockets, so Jordan gave me a few, and it was once again time to fix our tools. Now that our pickaxes and tools were repaired, we mined up the shulker boxes, and it was time to visit the Nether hub. We put down the shulkers when we got there, and we started building. We started working on the build from day 777 to 780, and you know what guys, we're not actually that bad at making hills. We did it earlier in the episode, and we're doing it now as well. Jordan had an idea of making a large circle around the base, so whilst he did this, I continued to build up the mountain. The circle was now complete, and we started building up to decide where the peak of the mountain was going to be. And then decided to go to work on the frame of the main mountain. Once I got to the top, I did the frame from the other side. When that was complete, I looked down and I was really high up. When we complete this, it's going to be absolutely huge. But time was ticking past us, and on day 784, it was time to call it quits with the building of the mountain, as we could easily be here for another 100 days of filling it all in, but there's other stuff to be done. Oh, and we also have a ton of netherite left over, like a load of it. When we got back to the overworld, we needed some slimes. And if you guys remember from a previous video, we dug out a massive perimeter underground and retrieved the slimes we had in the chests, and there was some spawning here too, which was a bonus. We waited for slimes to spawn and then killed them for their goods, but we were wasting time waiting around, so we took flight to go and check the nearby swamp and had no luck there either. The slimes were taking ages to spawn, but I took one last look down underground and one kindly spawned, and it was slain. Another one finally spawned when Jordan turned up, and another one soon after to give us about as much as we should need. We then turned them into slime blocks and grabbed the rest we had. Unlike most builds, we did a bit of material gathering. We needed coral fans or something like that, so I flew off while Jordan got the rest of the items we needed, and I kept flying as it turned to nighttime, as it took us that long. I only had 3 rockets left on day 786. Make that 2 now, and I finally found some. I wasn't just going to get enough, I was going to raid the ocean for what it was worth. I needed a plan of action on how to get home, so I very slowly mined some wood from the shipwreck that I saw, and when I say slowly, I mean slowly. I was able to make a crafting bench and then a boat to make it home the good old-fashioned way. At this point, I was definitely regretting not bringing more rockets. It took me that long rowing my boat all the way back home that the sun started to set as I arrived. On day 787, we checked the amount of gunpowder we already had in the farms, and we decided that we wanted a load of TNT, not just a bunch, but like a load of it. So I AFK'd the gunpowder farm for 5 days whilst Jordan AFK'd the iron farm. Also, because why not? But before going through the portals, there was a few llamas around, so I took them to the Nether, because why not? But it was results day. Firstly, for our iron, and GG. We got a decent amount here of iron. And next up was checking the results of the gunpowder farm, and oh my god, this was massive. There was so much. Took it all to the storage system and then put it away in the gunpowder chests, and we were very satisfied. I also added the gunpowder that was in the chest before I AFK'd, then I decided to use it all on making a ton of TNT. But before we went, we were low on food and remembered that we could trade for them. So I made some emerald trades with the farmers to get us both a sufficient amount of golden carrots, gave Jordan some food, and we found our spot. The tutorial we were following said that you couldn't have any highlands or any mountains, so we took down a hill nearby and made a border out of cobblestone, so we had a good idea of how big we wanted this thing. We went with a 100 by 100 area and then worked through the night to build up the walls of the border. And eventually we slept just before sunrise because the weather was jarring. Honestly, who likes rain in Minecraft? And phantoms were annoying as hell. I continued bordering the 100 by 100 area whilst Jordan sponged the nearby water, and it was finally finished. The next step was to build up the corners to Y85, and we spent the next 2 days building the World Eater. We set it off and it was super exciting, but we forgot to take down the pillar that we started from because it shifts over, and we fully broke it. Like, we fully broke it. We were crying with laughter, and it was honestly just a great time. It was so broken, it completely stopped at the other end. Jordan broke it so much that it started going sideways, and we couldn't stop laughing. On day 797 after destroying it, it was time to rebuild it. Now we built the main part, it was time to rebuild the return system, and we set it off. It was the middle of day 797, and we decided to let it go all the way through to day 800. But first, let me just show you the not so glamorous or fun part of the process, clearing up all the lava and water. But this thing was tearing through the land. Watch this. It's now day 800, which means we put the World Eater to a stop. And don't worry, guys, I didn't forget. I renamed my shulker to Chaza's Wallet. Thank you for this comment right here. So, guys, we survived 800 days in Hardcore Minecraft and got a lot of stuff done. If you want to see us survive on just one block in Hardcore Minecraft, check out this video right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.